legislative responsibilities and duties for the year 2020. And in Parliament elsewhere, they should have been here, we should have subjected your speech to debate. But as God would have it, the issues that you raised in your welcome speech are the issues that have taken us in the matters of urgent public importance that we have adumbrated on right from the beginning of the sitting up till now. And in that speech, Mr. Speaker, of conspicuous mention was the issue of security challenge in this country. You captured the issues that has been raised in the motion that has been brought before us by the Chief Whip as the lead sponsor of that motion and with others, and I share in the sentiment as expressed by the Chief Whip as the lead sponsor and other sponsors of that motion that we are deliberating on, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, your speech, and honorable colleagues, your speech shows the fact that you feel the pulse of Nigeria. You are pro-people and you are pro-Nigerian, and that is why the issues you've captured in that welcome speech are the issues that are begging for questions that are begging for answers by Nigerians, and they are expecting us in public office, in this particular instance, those of us elected in these hallowed chambers, to be able to profess solutions to them, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, we condemn in totality the issues of security infractions that we have had in this country while we were on the Christmas break and recess. We condemn the beheading and the gruesome murder of the chairman of the Christian Association of Nigeria, Adamawa State Chapter. We condemn the killing of that student from Plateau State. And we condemn the incessant attacks on the people of Northeast, whether in Borno or Yobe, or the people of North Central, whether in Plateau or in Kebbi, is totally condemnable. And my people had asked me to do that. Mr. Speaker, on the 11th day of December, I went home. I had a town hall meeting where I called my constituents and asked them, what do you think should define my engagement going further? And of primary concern was the issue of security in this country. And I want to express here the few issues, the few opinions and suggestions and the ideas that they gave. Mr. Speaker, number one, the mode of communication of security issues in this country is not what ought to be. Sadly, Mr. Speaker, last week, we heard that the Mr. President has ordered that there should be an immediate action, and stating specifically how those actions, from the news that we heard, how those actions ought to be carried out. How do you announce to the people that you want to go and bomb, or, the insurgents, that you want to go and attack, that you are coming on so and so dates to come and attack them? And that is arming them with information to be able to escape from those venues. So we need our security agencies to be able to re-strategize their communication approach, not letting the things that they need to do to come out in the public before they do it. And again, I know that there has been demand by Nigerians on the security agencies to show working, to actually prove that they have been up to point to address this security. Because of that, they keep giving us information that they ought not to give to us publicly, and it's an information that should be spread along, or it should be information that should be shared, knowledge that should be shared amongst the security agencies, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, the other one is the issue of patriotism and sincerity. Mr. Speaker, on the floor of this House, you set up an ad hoc committee to address the issue of soldiers who are absconded with money meant for operations. It's totally something that is unheard of. But, Mr. Speaker, I know that our chairman, the able chairman of that ad hoc committee, will present the report. And in that report, Mr. Speaker, I am not authorized to speak. But as a member of that committee, Mr. Speaker, if you get to know what happened within the armed forces, why a certain sum, huge sum of money, running into millions, tens of millions, that was meant for operations in a particular state, in a particular area, to curb insurgency, ended up in the pocket of same persons who were supposed to be in the forefront of fighting insurgency. That is the challenge that we have. We are asking that the money meant for operations should be judiciously used by our people and our personnel to be able to address the issues that we have. While we are asking for more funding, there should be a justification of the one that we have already appropriated for those personnel, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, there's a big question. And today, Mr. Speaker, in the last 6 months, I want to say that I am proud to be a member of these hallowed chambers. Mr. Speaker, today, we left behind the toga of party. We left behind ethnic toga. We left behind religious toga. And we rose together to call a spade a spade. Mr. Speaker, we want you to communicate with Mr. President that we have risen in unison in this House in the last 6 months to give support to the agenda of Mr. President that will deliver dividends of democracy to Nigerians. If we are rising today as a House to complain about the security chiefs, Mr. President should understand that it is that same position that we came to support him in achieving the other issues that he brought before us that would deliver dividends for Nigerians. It is that same us that we are asking Mr. President to look carefully at the composition of National Security Council, to look carefully at the appointment of the service chiefs. But we cannot shave, like the law says. The law says, audi alterem partem. You must hear from both sides. We cannot shave the heads of the service chiefs in their absence. Mr. Speaker, it is pertinent at this point, having called the service chiefs to speak to you and members of leadership, it is pertinent for the service chiefs to come before these hallowed chambers and address Nigerians through us on the strategy or on the challenges that they have and how collectively we can join our hands together to be able to curb this insurgency. Mr. Speaker, the big question begging is, after how many years, if a combination of the Nigerian armed forces cannot resolve an internal issue with their strength, Mr. Speaker, God forbid that we have an external aggression. God forbid that we have external aggression. Because what we are seeing today is speaking to the fact that if we have external aggression, we don't have a capable armed forces to be able to withstand an external aggression if we cannot resolve the issue of insurgency. So this calls for patriotism, it calls for sincerity of purpose, it calls for change of tactics, it calls for change of command. And before we do that, we need to hear from the service chiefs their challenges. Mr. Speaker, I want to thank you for the opportunity you've given to my federal constituency to lend their voice in support of the motion that has been